My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask you for pardon for my sins and the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Mother Immaculate, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. You will probably have often heard a story popularized by Stephen Covey in his 7 Habits for Highly Effective People. One version of the story tells of the 2 fastest woodcutters in a village who decided to meet one day to see who could chop more wood in 24 hours. So the next morning, at the crack of dawn, they both took up their positions in the forest and started chopping away at their fastest possible speed. This went on for an hour before one of them, let's call him John, suddenly stopped. And when the other, whom we can call Peter, realized no chopping sound could be heard from John's side, he thought, "Aha, he must be tired already." And he continued to cut down his trees faster than before. But after 15 minutes, he could once more hear John chopping again. Well, Peter was exhausted and about to stop himself when he heard John taking a second break, and feeling motivated and with a sweet smell of victory in his nostrils, Peter carried on. And this went on for the whole day. Every hour, John would stop chopping for 15 minutes, while Peter, like a dog with a bone, kept on going relentlessly. So when the competition ended, Peter was absolutely confident that he had won. But to his astonishment, John had actually cut down more wood. So Peter said, "How could you have chopped down more trees than me? I heard you stop working every hour for 50 minutes. And John replied, "Well, it's very simple. When I stopped, I was sharpening my axe." Well, Stephen Covey refers to sharpening the saw, but the concept is the same. We read in the Gospel today that after sending out your disciples, Jesus, to preach 2 by 2, they came back to report all that they had done and seen in the different places where they had been. They were tired, but happy. And so you said to them, "Come away to a lonely place, all by yourselves, and rest a while." For, we read in the Gospel, many were coming and going, and they could not even find time to eat. So they went away in the boat to a lonely place by themselves. And I can imagine it. It had been an exhausting time. We read a few verses before that they went out and preached everywhere. They cast out many demons and anointed with oil many who were sick and cured them. So you, Jesus, took them with you to a lonely place for a break. Time to sharpen the axe. Maybe you who pray with me are on holidays now. Well, at least there is a whole hemisphere taking summer holidays around this time. Unlike your disciples, Jesus, we also need to spend time away from the hustle and bustle in a peaceful place, and with you, Jesus, sharpening the axe. We all have an obligation to rest. Even God rested, you remember, on the 7th day, and he saw it was so necessary that he gave us a commandment to rest. But during these holidays, this summer break, or winter break for some, we all rest in different ways. And yet, there are a couple of things common to every situation. On one hand, when you, Jesus, organized the break, you took them with you. It was not about the place, it was about the company. It had to be with you. And the same applies to us. It doesn't matter where we go, but it is absolutely essential to go with you, Jesus. And also, when you took your disciples with you, you didn't go away with them to do nothing, right? For to do nothing, you need no help. You need no company, right? It wasn't about doing nothing. It was about taking a break from the usual activities to perform other activities that were not possible before. Relax, chatting with you, Jesus, reflecting on what they had done. You, Jesus, with your disciples, were sharpening the axe. Saint Josemaria said that to rest is not about doing nothing, but about changing activity. And for each of us, this means different things. There is a story of a famous Spanish writer, a Nobel Prize winner for literature, Jacinto Benavente. Apparently, one hot day, he was under the shade of a tree, with a notebook and a pencil on his lap, his eyes closed, when a man passing by saw him and shouted, "Good morning, Don Jacinto. I see you're resting today." The writer smiled and replied, "Well, I'm actually working here." And the same man passed by a few days later and found the writer sweating, vigorously digging a hole in the garden, and said, "Good morning, Don Jacinto. I can see that you are working hard today." To which the writer replied, amused, "Well, today I'm actually resting." This is true for you and for me. There are people who spend every day reading for hours, and they will rest hiking or riding their bicycles for miles, when a professional cyclist will probably pick up a book and read to rest. A gardener will visit museums during his holidays, and someone who works in the museum will probably work in the garden to rest. We all sharpen our axe in different ways. Some people rest doing the Camino de Santiago, walking for 100 miles, carrying a massive backpack, getting bitten by mosquitoes, sweating under the scorching sun, and then getting soaked by the rain 15 minutes later, with blisters on their feet, and listening to your little brother learning new words in Spanish, for his Spanish is a bit wobbly, like my English. Great! Well, if you rest doing that, be my guest. Reading, writing, painting, cycling, running, swimming, or playing, whatever you do to sharpen the axe, the important thing is that you go with Jesus, like the apostles, and rest with him. The best way to sharpen the axe is spending more time chatting with you, Jesus. To pray, like the apostles did that day, in that lonely place, telling you what they had done and seen and witnessed those days. A lovely get-together with you, Jesus, without any pressure or time constraints, just chatting as friends do. So, just as you, Jesus, did with your disciples, I want to ask you, Lord, to help me rest with you, to find my lonely place, even if it is in my back garden, and restore my energies to sharpen my axe with you. Maybe it will not be a long break. Maybe it is only our usual Sunday break, but the prayer still applies. Jesus, help me to rest with you. Like Mary and Joseph, how many lovely hours they spent with you, relaxing, walking in the fields, playing games, fishing in a lake, building a tree house, or just lying down under a tree in the heat of the summer. Family time, time with God, time to rest. Mary, my Mother Immaculate, and Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, help me to rest, to sharpen the axe with your Son, so that when I return, I can work both for God and for others, more and better. I give you thanks, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations that you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask you for help to learn how to rest with you. My Mother Immaculate, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, help me to rest.